Welcome students. So, now we will discuss some problems with regard to the material variances, and after knowing about the different formulas for calculating the different variances, material variances, now we will have to calculate these variances, learn about that in the different situations, in the different problems, how to calculate the different variances and how to find out the solutions to those variances. So, for example, these are some problems. 3-4 problems I have found out, which are I think covering almost all the aspects of our material variances. First problem is very simple, where we have to calculate only whatever the information given in the first problem, only 3 variances can be calculated. So, we will calculate the 3 variances, because it is not required all the times that from the given information all the 5 variances can be calculated. It is not necessary. If the total information is available, we can calculate a maximum 5 variances, right. But if the information is not available, for example, the information with regard to the mixes is not available, so we will calculate only first 3 variances, that is material cost variance, price and usage variance, right. And if the mixes information is also available, if the yield information is also available, then we will calculate the material cost, price, usage, material mix and the material yield variances. So, in this case, first case is very simple problem, very simple case, and in this case the say for example, it is given here is that the standard material required to manufacture 1 unit of the product X in Plastic India Limited is 10 kg, and the standard price per kg of materials is 2.5 rupees, 2 rupees and 50 paisa. The cost accounts records however reveal that 11,500 kgs of material costing rupees 27,600 were used for manufacturing 1000 units of the product X, right. So, it means you are given the information like, that is the standard information is given to us, that is the 10 kgs of the standard material is required to manufacture the 1 unit of the finished product. So, it means 1 unit of the finished product, to manufacture the 1 unit of the finished product, that is product X, you need to have the 10 kgs of the material at the price of standard price of the material of 2.5 rupees per kg, right. And actually it says that how much material has been used, material used is 11,500 kgs costing rupees 27,600. So, and how much is the total production, total output is 1000 units of the product X which have actually been produced. Calculate the material variances. So, in this case, for example, you look at, we are given only very simple information. We are not given the information about the multiple materials, we are not given any information about the material mixes, we are not given any information about the material yield, no informations are available, right. So, it means very simple information is, that is only product X we want to manufacture, we require 10 kgs of material, that is the standard for manufacturing the 1 unit of the finished product, and how many units have been manufactured, 1000 units of the finished product have been manufactured, standard price per unit is 2.5 kg, and now we have to find out the total variances, means the 3 variances which can be calculated, MCV, MPV, MUV, right, MCV, MPV and MUV, we will have to calculate these 3 variances. So, let us see how to calculate these 3 variances, and for calculating these 3 variances, let us now try to find out here as, first of all what you have to do is, you note down the information clearly and then you go for applying the formula and calculating the information. So, what is the standard price per kg? Standard price per kg is, which is given to us, rupees 2.5, right, and you can call it as standard usage per unit, standard usage per unit of product X, standard usage per unit of the product X is how much, that is 10 kgs, that is the requirement. Standard usage per unit of the product X is 10 kgs, right. So, now we have to calculate is something like that, and what is the net production or the total production? Total output is 1000 units, total output is 1000 units. So, it means now we have to find out the, say the something which is not available in this case is, what is not available? Standard price is available, but the actual price per unit is not available. So, we have to find out that, first of all, the actual price per kg. So, for calculating the actual price per kg, what is the formula here? That is, how much is the actual material used? 27,600 kgs, right? And how much is the how much is the total cost, means actual price. For calculating the actual price per kg, what is the total cost? This is the 27,600 rupees worth of the material has been purchased. And how much is the quantity that has been purchased? Quantity purchased is 11,500 kgs. So, it means what is actual price per kg? That is rupees 2.4, 2 rupees and 40 paisa. So, you have got now all the information. Standard price per kg is available, standard usage per unit of product X is available. Then the total usage is also given to us, that is 11,500 units. Total cost of the material is also given to us, is the 27,600 units. One thing which was required, that is the actual price per kg of the input, that was not available. So, we have found it out. Once all these requirements, all this kind of information which was actually required, if it is available with us now, then now let us see how to calculate these variances. So, for calculating these variances, what we have to do here is that we have to go for calculating these variances, and for calculating of these variances, let us calculate the material cost variance. First of all, material cost variance. What is the formula? Standard cost of material minus actual cost of the material. So, what is the standard cost of the material? We are using 10,000 kgs of the material, means how much material was required? 10 kg input, 10 kg of material input to manufacture the 1 unit of the finished product. So, how much is the finished product? 1000. So, 1000 into 10, that is the 1000 into 10 kgs, and multiplied by what? That is standard price is 2.5 rupees. This is the one component. Second is standard cost. This is the standard cost. And what is actual cost of the material? If you look at the actual cost of the material, we have used the actual cost, actual quantity is 11,500 kgs, and what is the price? Rupees 2.4 per kg. This is the price, that is rupees 2.4 per kg. So, this is the price we have to pay. So, this becomes the standard cost, this becomes the actual cost. So, what is the standard cost now? If you multiply this, this becomes, sorry, this has to be not 10,000, but it has to be 1000. It is 1000 units of the finished product we have manufactured. Requirement is the 10 kg. So, it means in this case what we have to do is we have to calculate the unit. So, it means 1000 into 10 kg multiplied by 2.5 minus 11,500 kgs, which is given to us already, and the actual price is 2.4. So, it means now what is the output here? What is the standard cost? Rupees 25,000. Rupees 25,000 minus rupees how much here? If you multiply this 11,500 with 2.4, so it works out as, already we have this cost available with us, and this cost works out as how much? 27,600. 27,600. So, it means now the what is the material cost variance? Material cost variance here is, that is how much? It is 2,600 rupees. 2,600 adverse, you can write either adverse in the bracket or unfavorable in the bracket. This is the material cost variance we have calculated from this information. Very simple information. You are given the output, that is 1000 units. You are given the standard input, that is the 10 kgs for the 1 unit. So, the total input in terms of units is 10,000 units, price per unit is 2.5, and in the second case we have got the actual information also. Actual input we have given is the 11,500 kgs, and the actual price we have paid is, that is 2.4. So, what has happened? In case of the standard, the requirement was 10,000 kgs and the price was 2.5. In the actual, what has happened? The input quantity has increased, but the price per unit has decreased, but still the variance ultimately is negative, that is 2,600 rupees. The cost, material cost has gone up by 2,600 rupees more than the standard cost. So, it means this is a variance which is adverse or which is unfavorable, right. Now, first we will calculate all the variances, and then we will try to find out the reasons for these variances. So, let us calculate the second variance, material price variance. In case of the material price variance, what is the formula here given to us? The formula for the material price variance is actual usage. So, what is actual usage here is 11,500 kgs, 11,500 kgs, and what is the inside the bracket? Standard price per unit. What is the standard price per unit? That is rupees 2.5 minus rupees 2.4. 2.5 minus rupees 2.4. So, this is the variance. So, how is the variance? Yes, this is a variance of 10 paisa, and if you multiply by this, this works out as how much? This is equal to rupees, this works out as rupees 1150, and this variance is what? It is favorable or unfavorable, because standard was more, actual is less. So, price variance we have paid here is, that is the 1150, and this variance is favorable. This variance is favorable. So, it is 1150 is favorable, you can put the F in the bracket. So, price variance is favorable, but the cost variance is negative. So, what is the reason here? Why it has become negative? Let us search for the reason by calculating the material usage variance. So, for calculating this material usage variance, what was the formula here? If you look at the formula given to us, then the formula is standard price per unit. Standard price per unit is how much? Rupees 2.5 into standard quantity is how much? 10,000, and actual quantity is how much? 11,500 kgs. 11,500 kgs. Now, it shows this variance will be negative, usage variance will be negative. So, how much extra material we have used here is 1500 units, and total multiplying that 1500 extra units used by 2.5, that works out as how much? Rupees 3750. 3750, this is the unfavorable variance or adverse variance. So, now we will go for the comparison. You verify now the material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance. So, what is the material cost variance? Material cost variance is rupees 2600 adverse, that is equal to material price variance rupees 1150 favorable plus rupees 3750 adverse. So, it means finally it becomes as favorable minus adverse. So, this is equal to rupees 2600 unfavorable, this is 1150 minus 3750 is equal to, that is rupees 2600 adverse. So, they are, or you can call it as unfavorable, whatever it is you want to call it as, adverse or unfavorable. So, we have proved it that your material cost variance is unfavorable by rupees 2600, and the material sum of the material price and the material usage variance are also, means the sum of these two variances is also negative, that is 2600, that is unfavorable or adverse. It means we have, means we can be sure about that whatever these three variances we have calculated, these three variances are correct variances, because you can apply the check also. Once you calculate all these variances, you have to now compare these variances with each other. Material cost variance has to be, is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance, and the material usage variance is equal to material mix variance and material yield variance. So, in a way material cost variance will be equal to material price variance plus material mix variance plus material yield variance, not usage variance but yield variance. So, either way you can check it, you can apply the check and you can find out whether your question is correct or not, whether you have rightly calculated the variances or not, and once you have calculated these variances, whether favorable or unfavorable, now we will have to find out the reasons for these variances. Here in this case we have found out is material cost variance is negative by 2600 rupees. We have paid extra cost as compared to the standard cost by this amount of 2600 rupees, right, in this case. right, in this situation or in this case. Now what can we do here? We will have to find out the reasons for that. If you find out the reasons, as I told you, the cost is a function of price and quantity. If you look at the price variance individually, this variance is positive, favorable. Standard price anticipated was rupees 2.5 per unit, means it was allowed to be paid for the purchase of the 1 unit of the raw material, but actually the purchase department has used their own wisdom, their own efficiency, made some extra efforts, and the actual price per unit of the material paid for purchasing of the 1 unit of the material, that is 2.4. So, they have saved for every kg of material, they have saved 10 paisa, right. So, it means this variance is favorable. On the total purchase of the 11,500 kgs, we have paid 10 paisa less per kg of the material, and there is a net saving of 1,150, this variance being favorable. But the effect has been nullified by using more quantity of the material, because anticipated or standardized quantity of the material was 10,000 kgs for manufacturing 1,000 units of the finished product, and we have utilized 11,500 kgs, 11,500 kgs against the standard requirement of 10,000 kgs. It means we have increased the usage by 1,500 units. We have increased the usage by 1,500 units, and this is the bone of contention, that your cost variance has become negative. So, it may be possible, we have to find out the reasons that why the extra quantity of 1,500 units has been used. It may be possible that when we reduce the price of the material from 2.5 per kg to 2.4 per kg, it may be possible we have purchased the inferior quantity of the materials. And when you give the inferior inputs, the outputs reduce, they go down. So, the purchase department has shown its efficiency by buying the material at a lesser price as compared to standard price, but they bought the inferior quantity of the material, which has shown its results in the production process. So, now we will have to find out that whose fault is it, whether inferior quantity of the material was purchased just to show the false efficiency, pseudo efficiency by reducing the price by 10 paisa, or the production department has caused more wastages, they have not used the material efficiently, meticulously, and wastages have increased. Who is responsible for this negative variance of the material cost by 2,600 rupees? That we have to look for, we have to find out. If the inferior quantity of the material was purchased, the inferior quality of the material was purchased, then the purchase department will be responsible. But if the wastages have gone up, then the production department will be, the processing departments will be responsible, and they will be fired for that, action will be taken against them. Ultimately, the objective is the variances should be not there, and if they are there, they should be within the permissible range. So, we will have to look for that this 2,600 rupees of the material cost variance, whether it is in the permissible range or beyond the permissible range. If it is within the permissible range, no analysis is required, but if it is beyond the permissible range, then the analysis will be done, and whether the purchase department or the production department or the processing departments will be held responsible, and the action will be taken against the person who has caused this extra cost of the material by a sum of rupees 2,600, right. So, you have to look for the causes, and here the cause looks like that is the quantity used is more, price paid is less. So, it means who is responsible for this negative variance? We will have to look for that and analyze these variances, right. Now, we go for one more problem, and if you do this problem, again this is going to be a very simple problem, and for solving this simple problem, again we have to calculate these variances. So, look at this, the problem is, now you are given not the one type of material, you are given the three types of materials, that is A, B and C. And what is the actual problem given to us here is, the actual problem given to us is that Excel Products Limited wishes to introduce effective cost control from ensuing production period. Excel Products Limited wishes to introduce effective cost control from the ensuing production period. Company requests to help in the calculation of required 3 material variances, and the one is total material cost variance we have to calculate, material price variance and the material usage variance. We have to calculate these 3 variances, and they are only 3 variances which are possible to be calculated from this information, and here are these information which is given to us about the standards and about the actuals. We are given the 3 categories of the materials inputs, these are A, B and C, and the quantity estimated or standardized is in terms of units is 1010 units of material A, 410 units of material B, 350 units of the product or the material C at a price of rupees 1, 1.5 and 2 rupees per unit. We have devised the standard at this quantity requirement and at this price. Now the actual is that the actual quantity used is for A, we have used 1080 against the standard requirement of 1010, and the price paid is also more, that is 1.2 as against rupees 1 per unit. In case of B, 410 standard units were required, we have used 380. So the material input has gone down, but the price has further increased here in this case also from 1.5 per kg to 1.8 per kg. And in case of the C, here the standard requirement was 350 kgs and price was 2 rupees per unit. Now the actual has gone up to 380 units and the price is 1.9 rupees per unit. Now this information is given to us, and now we have to calculate these variances. So what we will have to do in this case is, you have to calculate these variances product wise. First you will calculate the material cost variance for the product A, B and C individually and then sum them up. Then we will have to calculate the material price variances for A, B and C, then sum them up, and then we have to calculate the material usage variance for the material A, B and C, and then we have to sum up. And after calculating these 3 variances, material cost variance total, material price variance total, material usage variance total, sum them up and equate with each other. So they should be equal to, MCV should be equal to MPV and MUV, and then we will have to find out whether means these variances are positive or negative, and then to find out the reasons for those variances. Now let us do this problem. So first of all we will have to calculate what? That is the material cost variance. And for calculating the material cost variance, what we have to do here is, for example, first thing is material A, standard cost of material, how much units? 1010 units at the rate of rupees how much? What was the rate given to us? That is rupees 1. So what is the standard cost here? Again rupees 1010. And after this, what is actual? Actual is 1080 units at the rate of, the price we have, actual price we have paid is rupees 1.2. So it means it is how much? This variance has come up as, if you calculate this variance has come up as rupees how much? This is extra variance is how much? Or 1080 into 1.2 is, so this works out as 1296 rupees, 1296. So you have calculated this, one is the standard cost is this and the actual cost is this, which is available with us, these 2 costs, right. Then we calculate the standard cost for the material B. Material B, what is the standard cost? 410 units at the rate of rupees, how much is the rate? 1.5 per unit. So this works out as how much? This is rupees 615. Here it is 380 units at the rate of, what is the price? 1.8. So how much is the total actual cost? 684. And in case of the material C, now the cost is how much units? 350 units at the rate of rupees how much? It is 2, and how much is the cost we have paid here is 700, and in this case it is 380 units, 380 units at the rate of rupees, this is the information, 380 units at the rate of what? At the rate of 1.90. So, this is how much? 722, right. So, now you total it up. If you total it up, so total standard cost, is how much? Rupees 2325, and what is the total actual cost? Is equal to 2702. 2702. So, it is, now you calculate the material cost variance. Material cost variance is how much? This is finally going to be how much? Rupees 2325 minus rupees 2702. So, this works out as how much? Rupees 377 unfavorable. Rupees 377 unfavorable. This is the material cost variance. Now, similarly, you can calculate the material price variance. You will calculate the material price variance. So, if you calculate the material price variance this way, for the material A, material B and material C. What is the price variance here? Material price variance here you can calculate is, that is how much units? 1080 multiplied by the price, and the price here it is rupees 1 minus rupees 1.2. So, what is this variance? This is rupees 216. You calculate this variance, this works out as adverse or unfavorable. In case of the B, how much? 380 into rupees 1.5 minus rupees 1.80, that is equal to rupees how much? This is the difference of how many? 30 paisa, and the net difference comes up as rupees 114. This is again adverse, and material C is 380 into finally rupees how much? 2 minus rupees 1.90. So, this is working out as rupees 38 favorable. 38 favorable. So, you calculate the total now. If you total it up, how much it is? This work 2 are adverse. It through 2 are adverse means how much? They are 330 and minus 38. So, net is the total material price variance is equal to rupees 292 adverse, right. Now, we talk about the material usage variance. Material usage variance. Same way, if you calculate the material usage variance, so what will be here? It is 1 into 1010 units minus 1080 units. It is the standard quantity minus actual quantity. So, it is how much it is going to be? It is going to be 70 rupees unfavorable, adverse for the A, right. MUB for, this is for the A. Now, for the B, we will calculate for the B, and for the B how much it is? Rupees 1.5 into how much units? 410 units minus, here units are 380 units. So, what is the variance here? This works out as 410 minus 380 rupees. Price variance, usage variance is rupees. Quantity variance here is 45 favorable, and then it is C. C is how much? Rupees 2 multiplied by 350 units minus 380 units, 380 units. So, this is the total variance is how much? Rupees 60 adverse. So, again in this case also you have got the variances like 2 are adverse, 1 is favorable. So, what is the final variance? This comes out as 85 adverse, right. Now, you calculate make the check. Material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance. So, what is the material cost variance here? It is rupees 377 is equal to rupees price variance was how much? Rupees 292 plus it is 85, which are equal to total. If you take up that total is equal to rupees 377. So, 377 is also adverse and these two are also adverse. So, they are equal to each other. So, material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance. So, we have found out here that these variances are adverse, unfavorable variances, and unfavorable variance, that is the material cost variance as unfavorable has come up because of the both material price and material usage variances being unfavorable or adverse. So, we will have to find out the reasons for this, why these two variances material price and material usage has become adverse or unfavorable, causing the material cost variance as unfavorable, and correct those reasons. So, these are the two problems which we did here, try to solve out here, and then one or two more problems I will discuss with you or solve out of this problem sheet in the next class, and by that time you will be fully clear about that how to adjust different kind of the problems, how to deal with the different kind of the problems with regard to the material variances, and then any problem comes to you, you will be able to do that, you will be able to find out those variances and find out the reasons for that. So, further more problems with regard to the material variances we will do in the next class. Thank you very much.